So I got a question for y'all. Who do you think that Marlo is talking to? Chime down in the chatterization down below who you think this message is for. Let's get into it.
Ain't never been jealous of no one who does not have a vacation home, who don't own a yacht. It's so funny, y'all,
You got to have that vacation home and own the yacht in order for her to be jealous.
because it'd be so funny when people like, you jealous of me, girl. I want a soft life. I can't be jealous of you. Jealous
I do want a soft life too. I mean, I'm just saying.
of what? Where's your vacation home? What countries do you travel to? I mean, the math is not mathing. I'm so confused.
So my question is she talking about Candy or is she talking about Kenya? Or is she talking about Manetta? Or is she talking about Drew? Who do you think she's talking about with this? I mean, I did just see that Kenya had been in Paris. Okay. She talked about going to Paris with Brooklyn as well, and even pitching a show to Bravo about their yearly trips to Paris. Now, I think we just saw Candy out of vacation for her birthday. Was she out of the country? They were in Turks and Caicos. So that's technically out of the country, right? So now I mean, I don't necessarily see Drew doing a lot of international travel, but she could be traveling. We don't know about it. But I feel like we would know because she got about what? She got an entourage of like an ensemble cast of assistants, right? Does she still have all the assistants? Let me know who y'all think she's talking about.
Though I'd be confused with these girls for real. I'd be quiet because y'all know I go real Florida. When I go Florida, I'd be like, oh, Marlo, she's just so below the belt. So I've just been quiet. But I want people to know, for the ones who be thinking I'm jealous of whoever thinks I'm jealous of them, the math is not mathing. Like, you work so hard, and I don't see nothing I want that you have.
So when she says that you work so hard, in my mind, I was like, now, in that respect, is she talking about Candy? Because that was a thing that the lady said about Candy in the previous episode. It was actually a conversation that I liked when they said, "Oh, you work a lot, but do you balance time for yourself?" And Candy admitted that she doesn't. So, is she talking about Candy with this?
I love a luxury lifestyle. I really do. I really do. I like a soft lifestyle. I've already had a hard life. I was raised in 5 different foster homes, jail. I don't want to be rough anymore. I don't want to. I want to be soft. I want to travel out the country. I want to shop. I want to get my nails done. I want to be really feminine sometime. All that good stuff. I'm not going to tell you who said I was jealous of them, but you guys will see. But I want you guys to know I'm not jealous of anyone who's doing what I can do, you know, who doesn't have a vacation home, who doesn't have a yacht, who doesn't travel out the country. Um, I'm not jealous. I mean, when they live a life of validation, I like a luxury lifestyle, not a life of validation. I don't have to be validated. God validates me. So I'm good. So please stop the narrative of I'm jealous of you. I'm not, sweetheart. I promise you. Our lifestyles are so totally different. We don't even want the same things. We're not even into the same things.
So, who do you think that Marlo was talking about that has called Marlo jealous of them? Chime down in the chatterization down below. Now, could it also have been Kenya Moore hair care? Because Kenya Moore says that Marlo move like a snake, move like a snake, move like okay, you know what I'm saying? She says that Marlo moves like a snake. Now, this is not if you are a true Real Housewives of Atlanta fan, you will know that this is not the first time that Snake Gate has come to fruition. And the snake came to fruition the first time when there was allegedly a recording of Cynthia Bailey talking badly about Nene Leakes. That season, everyone was trying to figure out who is the snake. Okay. Was the snake Giovanna? That's what people were saying. Is Marlo a snake? Let me know in the chatterization for recording Candy and Drew and sending it to Latoya. But that's not the only reason why Kenya Moore is calling Marlo a snake. In a new video clip, as you guys can see here on the after show, I thought that initially Kenya would just be echoing Marlo's sentiments. However, she is not just echoing Drew's sentiments, excuse me, about Marlo in the Snake Gate, but she also has an experience of her own. She says that during one of the van rides, there was an incident with the au pair that Kenya left for Brooklyn. And apparently, the au pair didn't pick Brooklyn up. And so Kenya received a call. So I'm guessing she was complaining to either her assistant or to or about the au pair in question. And so what ends up happening is Marlo, who she says was, let me put alleged because this is what Kenya alleges on the after show, is that Marlo ends up calling her assistant thinking that the assistant was the au pair and calling the assistant and telling the assistant everything that Kenya was saying about the au pair. So not only did she perhaps call the wrong person, she called the assistant, who is a different person from the au pair. She reports back to the assistant what Kenya said about the au pair after Kenya was complaining about what happened with Brooklyn and the daycare situation on either the daycare or the school situation on the bus. So, this is the second incident that Marlo has allegedly gone back to the person that was being talked about and told them something that the other person in the group has said. So she went back and told Kenya's assistant negative things that Kenya said after the incident happened. Now, to me, now I have a better understanding of why Kenya feels so passionately about the snake gate of it all. Do you feel like this was snake behavior on Marlo's behalf? I definitely feel like it sounds unsavory to me because why would you do that, right? Is it for the sake of causing more drama, or I mean, what is the reason? Because for Kenya, this is something that wasn't filmed and it was still brought back to her team as though Kenya was talking negatively about them, which she may have been. She may have been complaining about why the au pair did not pick up Brooklyn. What happened? Where was the miscommunication? You know, why was this person late? I'm sure she did say some of those things, but she said it in the privacy of the sanctuary of the group not being filmed. So that was very interesting, okay, to me. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Candy reveals to Bondi. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys have happened to catch Candy's latest speak on it, but she had Bondi Blue as her guest host. So, number one, let me say a huge shout out to Bondi Blue. Um, whether she knows it or not, she was one of the inspirations for me actually getting on YouTube outside of Q, aka Funky Dineva, who most of you guys I look to as a brother. I just remember seeing one of her videos where she was just so transparent about her experience on YouTube. I don't even know if that video is still up. And I just remember thinking, like, wow, like somebody is finally telling the real about what it's like to be on YouTube. And this was shortly before Q convinced me that this is where I needed to be. So I want to say a huge shout out to Bondi Blue because I just think it's mad cool when you see somebody that you respect in the spaces that you can see them in, right? And so I just want to say a huge shout out to her because I think it's big and I think it's dope. And I think that, for Candy to also allow that opportunity to happen and to invite her, someone who has a voice of the people, as I would say, I just feel like it's just dope to see for me, right? But one of the things that Candy said in her speak on it was that speaking of the Drew and Ty and Ralph of it all, was I think that Candy said something to the effect that Drew claims that Ralph made up the stuff about Ty and her. So the allegations that were out there was something that allegedly Ralph came up with. That was what Candy says. And we're going to see, I think, more of that as time plays out. But she couldn't really get into the nuts and potatoes, not the nuts, but the meat and potatoes of exactly what was said or what we will see as time moves on. So I'm interested because I feel like it's going to really, really give us a lot of detail about where the season is headed. Now, speaking of Real Housewives of Atlanta and us getting a lot of tea, okay? One of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is some of the reactions from the cast members after last night's episode. You guys know that I like to typically do the video, and then I typically like to do another video kind of getting at some of the cast reactions. And so here we're going to pull up from our good friends over at TV Deets. We're going to pull up some of the cast reactions to exactly what happened last night before we get into the Nene leaks of it all. So, friends over at TV Deets posted this. Oh, and side note, that Marlo video was from the Neighborhood Talk and from Live Bites that we have talked about before. So make sure you guys follow because those links will be in the description. Um, Kenya Moore says this about Courtney. This chick wants some of me so bad, but chickens can't activate me. Thank you for your audition, but you didn't get the part. And to that, I have to say this. Despite how you may feel about Courtney, Miss Mama, I mean, was ready for Kenya last night. Okay. Now, Kenya, you might be saying she didn't get the part, but I'm gonna tell you she did. I mean, if that was an audition, that was one heck of an audition. Okay. I kind of felt like it was one of those moments. It didn't go there, but I felt like it reminded me of the moment where Nene realized that, oh, I need to get activated in this shade off with uh Claudia Jordan, because Claudia was in it from, I mean, like minute one. And I felt like Nene kind of had to catch up because I don't think she was ready for what Claudia had for her, right? So this was one of those moments where I wish that the Kenya Moore would have gotten activated, but we talked about that. Moneta says, whack, here go old Two-Face, please don't pardon the pun, talking crazy in the confessionals like she's known for. Wish she had something original that I could critique. I need this Moneta in the show, okay? I have, refrained from commenting about Sheree's appearance, mostly because I don't know. I just feel like I don't like to do that per se. Although I must admit that I do notice a difference, and it is a little bit jarring at times to sort of see the level of alleged enhancement. I don't know what is different, but something is definitely different, and it's slightly distracting, because I'm trying to figure out what is different, right? So we move on. Sheree says, I don't know why Drew is saying all of this to me instead of talking to Candy and Kenya about her feelings. I do agree with that. And then Marlo says, I don't know about collusion, but it's definitely given delusion. I'm not the person who started the whole kissing conversation. Would that be Sanya who started the kissing conversation based on what we've heard at this point? I don't know. You guys let me know in the chatterization down below. But I have to talk to you guys about what's coming tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is going to be a follow-up conversation with Carlos King and Nene Leakes. Now, Carlos King posted a clip of this on his Instagram and on his YouTube, and it's a clip of Nene Leakes talking about her relationship with Wendy Williams. Now, in this clip, she goes on to say that for her, during the times that they would be okay for a minute, and then Wendy would, kind of go in on her, and she kind of felt like she didn't understand why that would continue to happen. She also goes on to state that the last time she spoke to Wendy was during the time period of her last season on air when she was having all of those guest co-hosts come in. I don't think that Wendy made an appearance at all that year, but what I do know is that for Nene, it was always such a surprise. And she had told Wendy, you need to have at least two girlfriends that you do not talk about in a negative way. And she felt like Wendy never listened to her, and she was sort of desperate to keep, the momentum going with, her talking about people on the show. And so Nene, I got the sense that she never felt like her friendship with Wendy was a safe space, especially because they also get into the fact that Nene Leakes had a deal with Detmar Mercury. We talked about this on the channel before, but it was reiterated in this interview, and so I felt like we need to bring it on down. She had a deal with Detmar Mercury. Her and Wendy Williams got into it because Wendy Williams commented on the graffiti painted Birkin bag that Nene Leakes had, and there was an insinuation there from Nene's perspective that as Nene, as a black woman, could not afford that type of bag and to deface that type of bag in that way, whereas Kim Kardashian could potentially afford it because she didn't allude to Kim not being able to in the same way that she seemed to allude to Nene not being able to afford it. And so that caused a back and forth with them where Nene called her Wendell, and then things went down from there. And Nene doesn't say that she didn't know if it was Tom Arnold that had the other end of the deal for the co-host spot, but she does say that they talked to Tom Arnold during that period of time where she had the deal. And then after that whole argumentation with Wendy, the deal fell through. So Nene Leakes will be having part 2 of her conversation with Carlos King tomorrow morning. Well, it will be premiered at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I have a couple of appointments in the morning, so we will definitely talk about it, but it'll just have to be between my appointments, so probably in the afternoon. So we will have a little ponderosa about that. With that being said, that's the news that we have for you guys this Monday afternoon. Be sure to tap in, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, then hit the notification bell button. But also stick around because we've got more news, entertainment, and all that kind of stuff coming. So with that being said, I will catch you all in the next video.
So, Desiree Davenport, what are you hoping to accomplish with this show?
Honestly, I've lost everything in the most horrible way possible. And listen, I want it all back. I'm willing to build it piece by piece, and I mean brick by brick.
Oh, honey, she is done. I bet you a Birkin she doesn't last all season with us. Just watch.
I'm Misha Hill, and I'd like to consider myself the matriarch of this dynamic group of ladies. I mean, someone has to keep them under control.
I'm Davita Delaney.
I mean, I think I could teach these ladies a thing or two about how to get and keep a good man.
They said she was a gold digger. She ain't hear that from me. I'm just really looking forward to being surrounded by other empowering bosses.
Yes, I know exactly what she's doing. And if she keep playing in my face, I'm gonna have to let her off her dirty little secrets just like she did to me. And I'm not playing.
Let's get this straight. If I brought you into this circle, I just as easily can take you out. She ain't running nothing over here, okay? She needs to be worried about running that household and worried about why that husband of hers is never at home.
Oh, hell.
Ooh, child, this is about to be a mess.
Oh my God, I hate mess. What in the world did I get myself into?